to Limerick artists, rikilike art, rikilike artists, rikilike it, Limerick artists, rikilike Sarah Fennell.
Sarah Fennell, like Riki.
Thank you, how kind. So, I haven't even opened up my questions, right? But I thought I knew we'd be okay with Sarah, because Sarah's the best.
Yeah, I am. Can I start pouring?
Yes, of course you can.
You having a cup?
I am having a cup. I am. There's 2 cups and I'm having one.
Would you like to taste?
Just swirling around in my mouth.
First.
Talk about the notes. The top notes and the bottom notes.
A G and an S and a C.
So, we're going to start as per usual with an intro. But my intro, I wanted to do it differently to introduce yourself, please, because I hate that personally, and I wanted that to change.
Okay.
For this, because intros for me, I'm going to say how I know you, and then you then fill that out,
right?
Basically, rather than you being like, I am an Irish trained,
Yeah.
So I know Sarah from, how do you know when you meet someone in Limerick? Because it's just all kind of through the network of people. But definitely a memory of you during the BA, is that right? So Sarah did the trad course, Irish dancing course, alongside my course, but your course had been going on longer, hadn't it? I was brand new.
Yeah.
We were the first year.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember seeing you about, but not having spoken with you. And then I did my master's in contemporary dance, and at the same time you were doing your was it master's?
You did your master's in contemporary dance before.
Yes.
Me.
Before you did your master's in traditional dance.
So maybe was I in 4th year? No. 3rd year of college? No, I was gone on tour or something.
Yeah. So then, when we really started to connect, it was when you were doing your master's in trad, and I became your teacher in hip hop. You wanted to learn hip hop principles and street dance principles, so I taught you there. And then, I don't know, from there, I realised how class you were as a dancer. And then I was floored because you chose to do the 2nd year of your master's, but in contemporary dance. And had you done a lot of training in contemporary dance?
No, I did ballet when I was young, and then probably tap and stuff like that, cheerleading, hip hop, hip hop in the hall. Do you know what I mean? When I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then focused on Irish dancing, but then I did the masters. But before that, I had been I did my FYP in 4th year of the BA in Irish dance, and Mary Noonan was my course director, my supervisor. So she let me come into the contemporary dance because it was to do with yoga and that I was interested in contemporary dance and Irish dance. And so she let me come into some of the MA classes, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah,
so then you kind of got really interested in it, or?
Yeah,
so then I was floored that you did the Masters in Contemporary Dance, so then we were kind of floating about around each other, as you do in the academy. And then, I don't know, we just got more and more friendly. Have a mutual friend, Emily, who we got really close with as well. We became a trio. Hi, Emily. What do they do on YouTube? Shout out.
Can we say our WhatsApp group name?
Oh, that would make us look so lame.
No, leave it off. So anyway, we have a group.
Yes, we have a group. We have a WhatsApp group, and I don't know. We just got closer and closer. And
hi, Emily.
And the more we chatted, I don't know. You just Sarah has an incredible mind. And then we worked together and made a piece for nursing homes that toured nursing homes.
That was the best experience.
That was the best. It was kind of a bit life-changing. Yeah. So,
unreal.
That's my intro of you. But then how would you, because you sing, you play the piano.
Not really.
You have your own blog, Dance and Self.
Oh, yeah.
I know. You should remember that. But now, what I find so interesting about Sarah as well is that you've kind of moved away from dance, but I don't think you have. I think you've just built in a happier life for yourself where you're in hospitality. So you are a manager for a restaurant, and I've never seen training manager for a restaurant, and I've never seen you kind of happier. But you still dance with a dance company Eru, and performing with traditional Irish dance, but it's also with a mixture of it. You do so much.
Yeah.
So talk about that now.
Yeah. So I was always doing hospitality throughout dancing. I think I started my first day ever working in hospitality was when I was in Spain, and myself and my friend Fiona were going over to do co-op, and the idea was that we worked in the bar that they were hiring us in, and we also danced in the bar. Irish danced in the bar. And most of the time. But so we did like a kind of a show like for any tourists or whatever. And that was my first day working in it properly. And then from then on, like I'd always do some sort of work in hospitality during the summer, like between college, and then I'd go on tour after when I finished my BA, or kind of during fourth year, I started going on tour, like on Irish dancing tours, and between tours, like because the season for tours is how many times do you have to say tour?
Shot of tea every
Yeah,
time you
yeah.
say
God, we're gonna be really relaxed. It's because like you're like, I'm trying to make myself sound really exotic because I've been on tour.
You've been on tour
Yeah.
and in hospitality.
Yes.
But then so to contextualize that then, that Sarah has kind of come out of the arts, but the way we talk still, it's like it feels like you're not. So that's going to be in the interview as well, is that when I talk about your practice, I don't know, you just still seem right on the pulse of something, even though you technically have a full-time job in hospitality. It's really interesting, which is what I find fascinating about art, is that I think you can, have this worldview of an artist even without being, dancing all the time. Doing it all the time.
Yeah, and so I feel like, so during lockdown, when COVID hit and stuff, I stopped, like I was always working in a restaurant. Yeah. And I did like it. There was something that I was interested in about it, but I also hated it too, because I didn't know that was something that I was interested that much in. Like I was always like, I want to be a dancer and a choreographer, and I want to be brilliant at that or whatever.
And like brilliant, full stop.
Yeah, and like that was my whole life. Like I was working towards this thing, but I couldn't always do it because because there wasn't enough work, but also because I was always working in hospitality, and it was so hard to balance it all, because I'd be like, oh, can I have this weekend off because there's a show that I need to do, and like weekends are the most important days of the week in hospitality, and like it was really hard. And also like I was good at it, not toot my own horn, but like I was good at it, so I was a staff member who needed to be there also. And and then so anyway, lockdown happened and I moved home to Dublin, and I just was like, I'm not working now. So I started my blog and like kind of just dancing on my own full time. I started applying for funding from the Arts Council, and I decided like I'm an emerging artist now, and
that's the buzzword.
And I'm going to do this, like that's it, and this is me doing it. And then I was really enjoying it at the start, like giving myself, because life without structure is very difficult. So I started giving myself structure, and it gave me that. And I was exercising obviously, and I was taking classes, contemporary dance classes and stuff on Zoom, and yoga and stuff like that. And so I was really getting obsessed with the body and everything that I was doing, and also like being aware of all that is happening all the time, because I felt like, I have to be aware of all of that all the time because I'm an artist now or whatever. And I'm sure I probably always was like that anyway. We all kind of are as artists.
Yeah, but maybe it's buried under other stuff.
Probably we also try to, or let it in a bit more because we need to.
Yes.
We need to. Source something. So, and then the restaurant started opening up until 8:00, and I was going out to restaurants all the time, like with my mum and dad, like we were having a great time, and I started watching that the way it worked, and I'd get angry if I thought it didn't work well, or and then I started looking at food and even drinks, and like how the evening went, and like the like how your experience, my experience was, and like, but mostly wouldn't really even be experiencing that much because I'd be watching everything else in a different way. So, and then my really close friend Burdette, who I worked with in the restaurant I had previously worked in with, became GM of a new restaurant, and she was always saying to me, in the background, if you ever need a job, like, and and in my head I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm an artist. Yeah.
I'm
I
an
have
artist.
a blog. And I'm very busy with that, and on everything. But then I became not too busy, and also like the blog thing, that was great, and I got feedback from that, and that was done, or that was out, and that was happening.
Right.
So the kind of energy towards it was lessening. My energy towards it was getting less because I was used to it. And then one day, and I was like trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this, and you know what, at the end of the day, sometimes I just like to be able to get my nails done, wear fake tan, and have my own space. Like, I was living with my parents at the time. I'd like to have my own space. Like, I love my parents, they're such legends, but it was just, I'd been home for a year and a half, and I was like, that's all I want in life is my own space and my career.
And are you talking about hospitality gave you the expenses to do this, to go have your own place and to go?
Yeah, but as well, it gave me a job that was full time.
Okay.
And so I was like, how, like, it's funny, like, when it comes to that, like, I need, like, it's my life, my livelihood, like, how will I live? When it comes to that, it's like your brain, it felt like my brain was calculating like different ways, how are you going to do this, and then it just clicked one day, and I was like, I'm asking Burdette for a job. And I want it to be my career also. So she very kindly let me do that, and she's taken me under her wing, and she's going to teach me everything that she knows, which is unreal. Like, so I'm so lucky. And she's really like me, so like our brains work similarly, so learning from someone who like I look up to her but also really know her.
And then can I interject and ask?
Sorry, I'm going off.
My first question, no, because like, you're not going to talk about how extraordinary you are as a mover, but I am, and like, Sarah has this amazing.
I am.
Yeah, you are. Thank you.
I'm
But you've been talking about hospitality, but also like you have an amazing movement, understanding and awareness, and the fact that you move between different styles of dance and everything. So then, so then, if we take that, your movement practice and everything you've done to train, and I believe that it's still there, like it's still feeding into your life in some way, and then but now that your new life and your what's given you kind of more of like a yes is hospitality. So then my first question that I ask people is, in your arts practice, which I would actually just lump in a bit of hospitality there as well, but in your practice or in your life, my question is, what are you trying to do? And then the second question is that different from what people see you do?
Oh, that's interesting. What am I trying to do? I am trying to become successful at something that I'm passionate about and I like doing every day.
Which is?
Not one thing.
Okay.
It's both, actually. And at the moment, I probably am, because of the way things unfold, like with time and like the way work happens, at the moment for the summer or whatever, I am working with Eru, but I'm also putting a lot of work into the bar and restaurant, and that is, I need to do that. Like when I did the MA in contemporary dance, I didn't think about Irish dancing at all, because I was like, you know, I probably thought I was going to be a contemporary dancer for the rest of my life or whatever, but it wasn't that. It was like, I want to focus on this, like, as, like, you know, what is all of this about, you know, because I was so obsessed, like, watching the contemporary dancers in UL all the time and everything, and then after that, when that all settled, and even during lockdown, like, I really realised, like, oh, like, you can't just reject, like, and I wasn't rejecting trad, because I was always still doing it and teaching it and stuff, but, like, I started to see more about Irish dancing with this new body that I had and mind, and I think I always, like, we all always had those, but this new body had, like, this great information and sensitivity to what dance is or whatever. So now I'm still dancing, and I still teach in UL and stuff, but which is great, because that gives me that a creative outlet in a movement sense. But then in hospitality, like, now I'm learning, okay, how to manage, how to like present. Like, I keep saying to everyone, like, I've never performed as much as I do now.
Oh
yeah, and I'm constantly
interesting.
It's constant performance, even when I am
no,
being
I
myself.
totally see that, because I've been to the bar and restaurant that Sarah is training to manage, and you were a totally different Sarah when you were there.
Really.
Yeah, well, like, and then I could see it. I could see the mask or whatever. I could see the, you know, it softened every now and again when you were able to chat to us for a couple of minutes at our table. But I was like, oh wow, Sarah. This is like, this is not the Sarah I know.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was so interesting.
Yeah.
So you haven't performed more. That's really great. And then, so what do you think people see? You know, because if I'm an artist, or you're part of the arts community, and then I, you know, maybe not from my eyes, because I'm just, anyway, what do you think, is that different to what people see you do? What you just described there, what you're trying to do, is it different from what people are seeing you do?
It depends on the people.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Like definitely any of my friends who see me now, like, they know how happy and balanced my life is now. Balance. And they can see me being okay with these two things happening. Because for some reason, like, in my gut, I'm like, there's a reason. I don't know what the end thing is, like, but I know I'm enjoying these things. So,
great.
And I'm getting good at this new like role thing, that in the hospitality thing, and I'm getting more and more, like, every day I'm more interested. Like, I can't, like, every day I go in, I can't wait to go in. Now, sometimes a bit tired, but when I go in, I'm like, I love all the people that I work with, and I love all the new stuff that we're doing, you know, and being given, like, the opportunity to like take hold of, like, a situation, or like
and you didn't feel like you could do that in your arts practice, in your dancing world?
I feel like I could, but I found it very difficult to do that myself. Like, I had no boss at the end of the day. Like I do with Eru, like, Brendan's my boss, but, like, he, you know, he's and he gives me
the Irish dance company,
Irish contemporary dance
company that you dance in.
Yeah, and like, that work, that's a whole other thing as well, like, the learning from that, but, like, that's like a team dancers together doing something, like, questioning things and stuff. That's what it's become, is this, like, not a cult, but, like, a group of Irish dancers being, what the hell, what is it, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
and it's class.
Yeah,
like it's so fun.
My experience of you, like all these years, has been you love that question. What is it? You'll be like, what is it? And you do that with hospitality. You do that with everything. What is? No, seriously, you just want to like deeply focus and understand in on one thing at a time. And what is this? No, what actually is it? What actually is it? And like I'm looking at my questions now, and like it's so funny because I think we need to define that. I said this off camera, but I this is very me projecting this on you, so please talk back at me when I say this, but I think hospitality strangely is part of your practice, and when I say practice, it means kind of art practice or your life, your world, the thing that you're working on, which normally you would say is art for like someone like me who's that's just full-time what I do. But so like my questions are like describe your relationship with your artwork or your practice, but I'd like to define that potentially all of this is your practice.
Yeah.
Because you have this mind that just views the world in a way of like, what is it? What is it? Which is what creative people do anyway, is when you're making art, you go, what is it? What is it? What am I finding? What am I finding? But you're just doing that with your whole life. So then could you describe your, first of all, would you agree with that? Would you define your practice as it all? Or would you define it as something else?
No, I think you're right, because like even when I'm saying I don't know, I'm enjoying all of this, and it's going somewhere, it definitely, like I view myself as a dancer.
Okay.
And I tell so anybody that, you know, oh Sarah, you were off now, like, you know, regular customers, you were off now there last week, and I said, I know, yeah, I was doing a show. They're like, what? You were doing a show? And I was like, yeah, I'm a dancer and I teach you, like, you know. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know.
I know.
And then
it surprised me
so
too.
surprising, like, and it's so funny because every time it happens, like I've been doing this with having this conversation with customers since I was 20. I'm now 30, and and it's the same. Like it's the same. I'm like, yeah. Now this time around, it's like I'm interested in how they receive that and stuff. Like it's how I experience those conversations or whatever. Like I'm interested in how they, all right, and kind of, and then, you know, they kind of get to know you a bit more, and they, you know, and the different chat, like, you know, river dance, the river dance you're doing, I'm like, yeah, kind of like that and whatever. But, and so basically now I keep going off point, right? Yeah, so I keep going off point.
And so if it all is your art practice, but you call yourself a dancer as well. Okay, so that's interesting then. But you're a dancer that does hospitality, or do we need to define it, or could you describe to me your relationship with your practice right now?
I'm a person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like like a person who is doing different things.
Yeah.
and always learning. And that's I just want that to be my life, like, and you know, it all goes together. Like the stuff that I know from dance is helping me so much, even like with teaching and stuff, like, it's helping me so much in this new role. I'm like, you know, like the other day I was telling you, like I sold an event or whatever, and like, after it I was like, guys, like I really enjoyed that. Because I was like, I knew exactly what to do. Like, this performance, I knew exactly what to do. I knew exactly what to say. Well, I hope I did. And, like, they were really like, like, you know, because I'm so used to speaking to people about the place and what it is and stuff. And I have, like, an investment in it, too, because I'm really grateful for the opportunity. So, like, you know, that's a great thing. And I think, dance does that for me in work now, and also the work in dance, I'm probably a bit more like practical about dance. and not as now.
Not
having
as
said that, now I'm still learning, because we did a week residency and a show with Eru a few weeks ago in Galway, and I found the week quite difficult. Now we've been working on the show for like 2 years, and so we're all really close to it. So I found by that week, and also because I was so used to being in dance work all the time that, like, you know, I'd be hyper about it, and like you kind of feel a bit weird sometimes when you get into deep conversations or even deep movement or whatever. But I was used to that, and now I'm not as used to that, because I'm doing physical things.
Yes.
Like, there's your
very functional, functional
that
things.
food needs to go out. Okay, I have to walk over there. I have to check the toilet. I have to go. Come on in. Hello. You know, like that is so
different.
Like this, and even though it's not actually, like, you have to be very sensitive and open all the time in the work, because it's like what were the girls saying to me, like, after my first week? They were like, you have to be in the moment all of the time. You can do as much working ahead, which is what you have to do to prepare or whatever, but you always need to be in the moment.
This is in hospitality. Yeah, nice. Wow.
And I never knew that.
Wow.
I thought it was always about working ahead, but then I realised like if you're in the moment, you can respond. You can do everything right.
Wow, great.
And your mind doesn't go, like, you don't get, you know, anxious or like stressed about things. Like you still do, but like it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, so you talk about being in the moment, and that's definitely a thing that dance brings, and then it's so interesting that hospitality brings. Because I have this question about how did I put this to shame? So we make things, even if it's like you make a day work in work, right? Or you make dance, or you're working with people and creating dance together and stuff. And so my question is, what do you think is happening when you're making things? So I've had this chat with Mary Noonan actually about, she calls it divine and donkey work. So there's a divinity in creativity, I believe. I think there's some sort of God, like God-likeness happening, that you're just attuned to something that's otherworldly and kind of calm and whole and amazing. And then we're a vessel for that. But then there's like the emails and the phone call and the food has to go over there, or the blah 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 blah, and that donkey work is just as important. But all of that, what do you think is happening when you're in Eru making work with people? Or maybe do you feel that same feeling in hospitality?
Okay, a few things came to mind there. So I don't have the same feeling in hospitality as I do in like when you're making dance work. I feel like, well, I'm getting used to the dancing thing. When I am dancing, I feel the same as when I'm moving around doing the work. It's so relieving.
Wow.
Instead of the thinking and like having to do something like, oh my god, an effort. Well, if you just do it, it's grand while you're doing it, you know. But something that I thought of there is like, I know this like divinity and the donkey work. But somehow, for me, this is kind of maybe a bit too much or something. This is just what's I'm thinking. Maybe this is the whole thing of my practice as everything. Is the donkey work, like at the end of the day, is the donkey work still the divinity? Because at the end of the day, like me bringing food to someone, like, what is a plate?
What is it? What is it? This is Sarah in a nutshell. What is it though? What?
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even know this about myself, but thank you. Like today I was talking with my housemates this morning, right? And I'm there like my pajamas. My hair, my hair is like, when I sweat or whatever, or even anytime I sleep, when I wake up in the morning, my hair is like crazy.
Okay.
And I come in and I probably still had a bit of like eye makeup on because I didn't take my makeup off properly last night, so I was wrecked from the long weekend. from working, not from going out, unfortunately, and had the jammies on and everything, like, and I looked wild, right?
Okay.
And I was saying to my housemate, like, we have all these funny conversations and stuff. But I was like, do you ever do that thing, like, where you look in the mirror? And it's in relation to the show that I just did with Brendan, The Village. And at the end, the kind of route that we decided was, at the root of the show, was the idea of existentialism, so the nature of existence, like, what is it?
Okay.
And so in the show, Brendan does a monologue where he talks about this experience he used to have when he was a child, where he looked in the mirror and saw himself, and then realized, like, I am me. It's so this is a really bad way of explaining it, right? But it's a donkey realization. It's a donkey work.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a realization, like, oh my god, I exist. This is me.
What?
Yeah.
I am here.
Yeah, this is happening.
Yeah.
And
when he was talking, like, in the initial, like, stages of the making the show, like, we were talking about, I've had that too. Like, I remember the last time I had that, I was doing a show with Chris and Fontanella in called The Competition. We were in residency in Nina, I think. I keep forgetting the name of the place, but anyway, we were in these cottages and we had no phones because our Wi-Fi is really bad in that cottage, and blah blah blah. And it was like, so we were having such a good time, and it was so weird that we were with people because it was during lockdown or whatever. And I looked in the mirror. It was a really quiet day, and I looked in the mirror and had that thing. And so anyway, now I'm going completely off point, but it's funny. So anyway, I was talking to the girls about it, and and I went up to the mirror, and I was showing them, like, guys, and I went up to the mirror, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, the state of me! But, like, then even, like, the laughing about that, like, for me is, like, it's all, like, whoa, everything is huge.
Yeah, I know. That's what I love about you, is that everything is so huge. It must be hard to be you. It's hard to be me. But no, because
it's hard to be.
It's hard to be.
It's hard,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, but you see, I think it's so fascinating talking to you because you have made this choice about being really in a more practical life zone.
Yeah.
Stadia. In a more practical life, but you've even, I don't know if you want to talk about it here or I'll float past it, but you've even talked about how it's kind of saved your mind to be more practical, because I think in the arts there's a sensitivity you train, but sometimes you also are naturally sensitive to, like, things that don't feel part of this world, or like thoughts that just take you to places that you can't, you're like, I can't live here, because if I live here I'll get lost in my own like mind. But it doesn't feel like you're getting lost in your own mind. It feels like, we've talked about this, feels like you're getting lost in, I don't know, maybe quantum physics related. Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, that's, you're like, it's the state of me, or maybe that's the work, maybe that's the most important thing, is this laughter about the state of me, or the fact that I came home from a long weekend but I'm going to go dance. Like, it's just all a part of it. But what is it? What are we talking about? Like, we started with divinity and donkey work, but it's really interesting, like, your answer is like, it's all. It's all.
But like, we have to, like, as well, because in order to be able to live and stuff like that, there has to be, like, practical or donkey work. That has to happen.
Okay, that's interesting.
But like, I don't view it as that. As like like, I'm finding this new way of routining, and, like, I have to go into the work now, and I have to get the newspapers or whatever, like, is so interesting. Like, and all the time I'm like, wow. Like, or, when you see your reflection, or, like, you do the same route and you see your reflection in a window or a door every time, and you're like, whoa, whoa, or, like, even the fact that, like, I was explaining to the girls about the idea of, realizing you are here in the world, and I walked over to the mirror And I was trying to do it, and I just couldn't stop laughing about the state of me. And one of the girls was like,
you tried to show someone.
I know, yeah.
Just one second,
actually
just stand in the mirror with me, right? And just contemplate existence. Come over here. We'll do it together.
This is what I did. And then like one of the girls was like, yeah, I've had that before. Like it literally. I hope they don't mind me saying all this, but anyway, they probably won't.
We haven't named them.
She was like, yeah, like I like with the realization, like I exist. Why?
This
you know,
this is Sarah in a nutshell. These are all of our. I love these conversations, but yeah, that's just you in like a nutshell.
But
Just always asking, what is it? Why? What's happening? What? Why?
Yeah, I think the physical nature of the movement in work is that it's practical. But I still dance. Like I like being like, oh, I know exactly how to hold this tray, right? And like teaching people like this is how you hold and you have to, like I love knowing those things, like, or like when we're busy and like you have to move in a certain way, or like you have a different demeanor when you leave the kitchen than when you go into it, and like pushing the door. That's like how you push the door.
Detailed, Sarah.
Yeah.
God, that fucking.
Or making a coffee.
The way you can observe that about yourself is fascinating.
Yeah.
Or those are the things that you think about. I would think about different things, do you know? Because those are the things that you think about.
Yeah, because I'm in a place though. I'm in a place, an environment that I enjoy. The people that I work for are really are sound. They make me work. Like I have to work for them, which is really, I need that. And I have so I have a purpose as well that is my purpose is like I need to be there in order for my job to be done. Which is like, that's great to have the opportunity to do that. And like I do think like as a dancer I also need to be there in order for my job to be done.
But it's a different kind of there.
Yeah, and it's always changing.
Yeah. Yes.
What I need to do.
Yes. Changes. And I really like that, but I think that's really interesting because we've talked about you've really kind of struggled with being a full-time artist in terms of I don't think you could reconcile with all of that change all the time or all of that like different needs. I'm totally fine with. See, you need to be okay with a particular lifestyle when you're full time in the arts.
And I'm
but I want to be this.
Wanted to be like like I admire glamorous people.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know why, it's something about the. So I kind of always wanted to be that, and like how I describe, or I always talk about being a handbag lady. Which,
do you know, I never said this. Have I said this to you that I consider a handbag lady an old lady?
Yeah.
Was you
well,
consider?
That's not. Well, it can be an old.
It can be, but
There's
she's
a lot
glam.
of old handbag ladies that I know.
Yeah.
But like the bag. Now this will never happen, but the bag is clean inside and out.
No, it's an impossible dream.
I mean, there's always going to be chewing gums and granola crumbs at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And like
smudge.
lazy stuff as well. But on the exterior, I look sometimes to recognize myself as a handbag lady. I'm like, it just makes me happy. I don't know why. And I think something about that is like I let myself just go with actually who I am. That I actually just want to do that.
Nice.
And I want to be creative.
Yeah.
And cool. Do you know what I mean? Like
let's fist bump because it's cool.
Just mind my ring. Sorry.
Yes,
but like I'll take the nails off and the tan off for
the dance. Yeah.
I'll do it for the dance.
Well,
I don't have to, but
exactly,
I will if I have to. And you know, it's not, it's like, that's a whole other thing that I get to experience, is being in dance and like surrendering to this thing that exists, like, which is my body moving, or whatever.
Excellent segue, because I'm going to ask you the question that like started me on this, like, I want to talk to artists in Limerick and maybe beyond, but the body, like, I want to surrender to this thing that is maybe the body. So I don't think it's talked about. Shane really helped me with this in the last interview. You can watch the last interview up here.
By the way, the
oh yeah, Shane. No, we'll talk about the tea now in a second, Shane. Because teas, we have different opinions on the tea. So so I think, and Shane really helped me kind of coalesce some thoughts about this. I think the body thinks. I think it processes stuff, and I think it feeds back to us, right? I would say you have more of a connection with this than maybe Shane did, but Shane was really helpful in like me wording it properly, because you know this, but I don't think it's talked about enough. And that's what I was so fascinated by, because it's actually a Limerick rapper who uses his body in a really interesting way that made me suddenly want to talk about this more, because I don't know if he knows it. I don't know if he knows just how in his body he is, and how amazing that is, and how his body is helping him make art. Like but it doesn't have language, obviously, but we know that it does have its own language. And even as I'm talking, you're doing that thing that you're doing. So I wanted to say as well, like, Sarah, we had, like, when we started working together, Sarah had to like stop me mid sentence and be like, just to let you know, do you want to explain it? I do this thing. She was like, I do this thing.
Like, so when people are talking in a way that I need my whole body to interpret the whole thing, and and it's so funny because it feels like I'm dancing here, and but like you are, I am, like,
so like,
but I have
Sarah
to go
will do
like
strange quote unquote strange movements. She'll like start moving her spine a lot when I'm saying something she's trying to understand, and you're trying to understand it in a way that the mind can't. I just think that's so cool. And I do it too, like when someone talks to me about like, and then we have to do this and then this will be happening in the movement, I start doing like,
you do that.
I start floating because I'm trying to process it. And I think this is happening all the time in everyone, whether you're an artist or not. Like, for example, a really simple thing was when Shane was telling me something that was making me upset in terms of like his life. He was talking about something that was bothering me that had happened to him, and I was sad that it had happened to him. I started massaging my own foot, and then I only realized that I was massaging my own foot after, because I was soothing myself, because the body needed to do something while something was happening, right? So my question is, me contextualizing all of that, where does your body come into all that you've discussed in terms of hospitality or dance and everything? How is your body turning up in your life? It's such a hard question. It's probably unanswerable, but I want to start talking about it because nobody does.
So say the first bit again.
Where does your body come into your work?
Oh yeah.
What's happening? You know, how is your body processing your life?
Right, so one thing that you were saying there about, like, I think everyone has that, has this thing where their body is thinking, and I think it, so we relate to each other, our language is body language, because we, like, I'd be so, you wouldn't know me if I, sorry, I'm putting on a weird voice, but you wouldn't know me if I talked like this, and I just kind of, you wouldn't get to know me. So, like,
or just even the way you're sitting, I know how comfortable you are with me. Whereas if you're sitting down, you know, I know something else about you.
Like,
even if
so
I couldn't put
funny.
into words, but like,
I remember going on a date, or like starting dating and whatever, and I remember reading somewhere like about body language, you know, and if they repeat or if they copy your body language, they like you. So I'd be testing them. So I do this, and then he'd do it, and I'm like,
well, going well,
you like me? But so to come back to the question, so how my body turns up or is, it's digesting all of my experiences physically. Sometimes in my mind, but I really think like my body thinks. like you're saying, and my body listens too, more than my mind can. It can actually, the information can go in quicker, and I learned that from my yoga teacher, Juliana. We were talking about the spine, and she taught, I think that, I'm not going to say this right, but like about information going into the spine and how that information travels quicker than actually your mind and your body to your body. And it was funny because one day she was telling me, you know, before the class, preparing me for the class, and she was telling me what to do, and I couldn't listen with my mind. I just wasn't buying it, to be honest.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, and but my body was ready to do yoga because I was sitting, you know, in front of the camera, like ready.
Yeah.
Like I knew that I was going to be doing yoga, and but I just didn't think it was what she said was the class was going to be about, and to try move through. I just didn't think I could do that, or you know, I was probably in downstairs mode still, like having a cigarette and a coffee before yoga, and you know, like, and then I sat down and went like this, and my whole body did exactly what she told it to. She told me to.
But your mind
because
felt
my body
was
listening actually. So it does. It is. Well, that was my experiment and it worked. And so
you're so on this, like, because see, I think dancers know this inherently because we literally train this sense. I wonder if it's a sense or something. We train the sense. So you're buying into what I'm saying very quickly, which is great. And it might sound strange. I want to say out loud that it might sound strange to people the way we're talking, because because the body doesn't have language, as dancers we learn to make up an English language for what we're saying. So you talk about the spine, or you talk about the body is thinking, or there's something that came into my head there when you were talking, but now it's gone. But just like, there is no language for what we're talking about, but I want it acknowledged more, because I don't think it's acknowledged that, like, there is so much this is doing.
Yeah.
And this is telling us, like, feeding back. I think that's what Shane said. Shane had never considered it as a feedback loop. He had always considered mind, the way he put it was like, well, we're not human if we're just a body with no brain. Like, we're not alive. And I was like, I totally agree with that. And then he was like, yes, but now the more that I was talking, he was like, but now it's like this thing.
Yeah. Well,
it's constantly.
I think it's like locating not the brain, the mind. So we think that the mind is all up here, and like because probably our brain is here, the source of everything, all the information. Is it the source? No, probably it's the spine. I don't know. Right?
You love the spine.
Yeah. I can't make the spine.
I love the gut. Do you know the gut has more
gut.
nerve endings than the spine? Do you know that?
Well, the spine.
Well, mine is better.
But so that's up there, and the this is where I talk. That's where my brain is. My mind is up there. So that's like blah 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 blah. And then if I start like Mary Noonan things, like if I start going like, actually my mind is it all. It's all of it.
Right. Oh. Because some people say that this should be called a mind body rather than the mind and the body. Because it's all. Yeah.
And that's just the brain that does stuff up there. But like what happens is we disconnect the brain or mind to up here, because it feels like that's where all the stuff should be processed. So I think people do know this.
Yes, I was literally thinking that. Yeah. Minds
people
are
know this, but
I think people know
we
this
don't
as
say it.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say. It's taken us 2 hours.
It is hard to say, but I think so you're dead right. I think people know this already. I think people are going to be like, well, yeah. But the thing is what my frustration is that it is left out of the conversation when it comes to big, important issues. I don't know what those important issues are, but like making art, for example, people think that it, being in flow, they think it's all a brain thing. They think it's all the responses people have and stuff. They remove the body out of it.
Do you mean people about dance? People who aren't dancers?
Yeah, I think that. I think dancers talk about it more. I'm thinking about that Limerick rapper now, and I'm like, I would wonder, does he know that his superpower is a part is body, the body is part of that superpower. Do you get me? Like, what makes him so striking is how he lives in his body. But I wonder, does he know that? Do you know?
Yeah, I wonder, does he know it? But like, I would also
mean,
hope
like,
that he
living in your
does
body?
know how that it all works, and he probably does if you can see it like that.
Yeah.
And then
but I don't think I don't think art is talked about, or
dance,
actually anything is talked about in terms of the body. We kind of impose all of these ideas on the body. Do you know, like body positivity, and you can't be this size or you have to be that size, and all. And it's all very superficial. It feels really superficial to me that like actually your body is telling you stuff right now.
Yeah, it is you.
Listen.
And something that is coming into my head now or my body.
Something that is processing currently through the spine.
Is that, it's this, the body is a thing that exists. Like, we all exist as bodies, and like, what a beautiful thing that we do as dancers is express existence physically.
That's so nice.
And I really like, that's how important it is. We show life through the vessel that is life. Write that down.
Oh my god!
No, but that's how I feel about it.
Wow, great. Wow.
And what a beautiful thing, and but at the end of the day as well,
I would say dance is the lowest art form in terms of popularity. Like, yes, people love a good dance, but you don't get as famous as a dancer. You get more famous as an actor or musician or a singer and stuff like that. And I wonder, I have a wondering, I don't know, I hate when people are like, it's because of this, but I have a wondering, is it because the more and more life, like as in jobs, office jobs, stress, it disconnects us from our body, so people don't understand that what we are expressing is like just being alive in this bag of flesh. Like, I don't think dance is as popular or as connected with. Maybe because of that. Maybe
because the experience of what we are having as dancers isn't the same.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, it's so hard to communicate, even by showing. Like, now, like, choreographers and stuff, they're fucking brilliant at doing that, like, and allowing an audience who don't dance come in and be affected and stuff. But as well, like, we need to remember that now we are all movers, but like, as someone who is like, like, when I think about, like, well, I didn't ask to be a dancer. Like, when I was a kid, like, my mum was like, oh my god, she's up on the windowsill again singing in that fucking microphone, or like, I'd be dancing, or like, when I started doing Irish dancing, like, I'd be doing Irish dancing in the fucking supermarket, like, so embarrassing. And she'd be on the phone, like, to someone from home, and I'd be leaping around the kitchen, like, or like the whole house, like using the whole house just to practice or whatever, like, mad how much I loved it. But like, and she'd be like, oh, she's leaping around the kitchen. I'd be like, no, I'm not. But like, why? My mum never told me to dance. Like, my dad, like, they loved music and stuff like that, and like, I suppose, like, it's in genes. Like, my granddad loved singing, and my granny actually was the first person. No, first she taught me a hornpipe when I was able to do trebles in her hallway on the lino. Like, what an experience! But like, so she, like, yeah, you get it from that. But I already liked Irish dancing before that because I saw River Dance or whatever. But like I was already in. I was like, you know, why did I go? Oh my god, I have to do that.
Yeah, I have that question about myself.
So as well, like we have to remember that there's probably not all of us have gotten the opportunity, first of all, to be allowed to do dance, and then dancers are a small community because we're special or whatever. I hope
we're sensitive
that people watching this know how important it all is to me, and that I'm not taking the mick out of anyone or the dance.
No, you're not coming across
or dance no. Like I know I'm not, but like sometimes you know like the jokes and stuff is just to kind of lighten the feeling, because like otherwise the two of us get like
start really it's all just
I need my man.
Yeah. So okay, we won't go down that spiral, but so I'll pull us out and ask a different question as well though, because you're from Dublin and you're in Limerick now, and you keep finding yourself back in Limerick because you went away for lockdown and maybe you dance around, you toured and stuff, but keep finding yourself back in Limerick. How do you think Limerick influences your work, if at all? Because this is again what started all of this as well. So I think something special is happening in Limerick. I think there's this weird, raw, visceral madness happening.
Yeah, it's well, first of all, Limerick as a place, like or UL allowed me to be really serious or whatever about dancing.
True. Yeah.
And so first of all, there was that place with these people who were giving us that gift or whatever, and then when coming out into the city, like it's very, the place feels safe for a dancer. It's not like really, really expensive to live here, but like it's too expensive for me to be a dancer or whatever. No, that's not true. But you know,
it's almost too expensive on your energy.
Yeah,
it's not even.
But I actually haven't tried it yet in Limerick, so maybe in 5 years' time. But
so like, what does, if at all, if Limerick, how do you think Limerick shapes you in all of this that we talked about? The practice.
Well, it's like there's a rawness in the people. Like the people are real, you know. They're so connected. Like
that's so true.
Alike, and then there's lots of different types of people, but there's still this like real rooted. Come on, Limerick. Like
there's this loyalty, fierce.
There's a real like, and you know. How Limerick, how people speak to each other from the same areas and stuff, like it's just this knowing of like this is who we are, whereas in Dublin it's very different. Like it's very difficult to, well, I suppose as well, I moved a lot when I was a child, or like moved a lot since I was born. So I was born in Amsterdam, then we moved to a place called John Bate in Dublin, then Balbriggan, then I moved to Limerick. You know, so I was never like from somewhere proper, which was cool. I suppose gave me some of my personality traits or whatever. But I don't like. I see it more in Limerick. This feeling of, you know, everyone knows each other somehow. I don't know.
Do you know what I realised as well is very, very important in Limerick, which is free, because I didn't get in so much trouble, but I didn't realise this was like an etiquette rule thing. People salute each other in the street, and if you don't salute back, it's a real like feck you, like fuck you kind of thing. And it's a very much you have to salute. Like I've had young people who I've taught salute me, and but apparently I haven't saluted them back because I was in my own world as per usual. Like I just go somewhere, and I've learned like from Limerick friends that it's so important. Like it's part of this whole like we are connected. Like I've known you for maybe you've done a project together, or you know taught them for a 6-week term. Now we salute in the street. You know, you just give them a nod, and like now that's, and it's very not offensive but almost offensive. It's like really like severing a tie if you don't salute someone back. And I've had to profusely apologize to people when they told me like I've saluted you in the street and you didn't salute back. Like, that was a big deal to them, and it wouldn't be to me, because I'd be like, oh grand, I don't have to talk to I don't have to make this. But it's really important. I think connection is a really good word. I've never thought of that, but Limerick is very connected. There's a tight knit city.
This.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I
Whereas,
didn't know that as well until now.
Oh, right. Yeah, don't definitely salute back.
No, I know that. Well, and as well.
Oh, you didn't know that it was connected until you said it out loud.
Or I didn't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But as well, like people who don't know each other salute each other an awful lot.
Oh, that's
here.
true. Yeah.
I don't feel like a number. I feel like a person. I also feel like, you know, it's so eclectic here. The different like cultures, the different, you know, which is also like probably a lot of it's coming from UL as well as other things. But you know, I mean, in relation to artists coming to Limerick and being here, and then like the place becoming now richer and richer in art and all of it, like, and even like, you know, young people who are not artists but experience it, like it's becoming more like they want to experience.
Or they know
everyone
that it
wants
exists.
to go to gigs now, and everyone wants to
try stuff.
Hear about. Oh my god, that's so cool! Like what you do, that's class. Or like the people who make coffee in Habit are the coolest people ever. I want to be them.
Yeah.
No, but they're just so like they're so cool. They know exactly what they're doing. Their community.
Yeah,
they have their friend.
There's
a friend out there. One of them goes out, chats to them, like, you know, like, and I go to Habit all the time because of that.
Oh yeah. I go to Habit. You're so right. In Limerick, I go to places because of that feeling. Because of that connected, like, people care. Yeah. People care.
Yeah,
that's why I go to
this
things.
Family.
Yeah.
Like
this chosen family or something.
Yeah.
You probably have to go. I have a last. My last thing is that I should have told you this at the beginning to give you time to think. But you are allowed to ask me a question.
Okay.
So you can ask me a question if you want to. And Shane couldn't think of one. He got very stressed, so he didn't. We also have to talk about this tea. Shane, she loves the tea now, and you're wrong. Kettle water my hole.
No, it's not kettle. God, no.
He comes in here into my home.
Right. You know the way you're like, like, that's what I think is, about Sarah, like, that she kind of, you know, is always questioning, like, what is it? What is it? Like, what's your practice then in terms of question? Whoopsies.
I just leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did that
It's
even
a
make
great
sense?
Yeah, it totally made sense, but now I'm sweating because that's a massive question. That could be another 2 hours. But so then I don't want to volley it back at you, but it would be very helpful if you, because I see that in you, the what is it? Do you see a question in me? Do you see a question in me? Because straight away what I would talk about would be joy, but I know that that's a story I've told myself. I know that that's a narrative it's probably an easy soundbite for me to tell somebody. I'm a defender of joy, is what I say a lot. But then, do you remember the other day I told you about my tattoo? I'm going to get a tattoo soon.
Yeah.
And I was like, one of the quotes I want is tell them stories, and you immediately was like,
yes.
That's Rachel. That's
that
Rachel.
Is you. Yes.
What do you mean by that?
You're obsessed with stories.
Am I?
Yeah, you are. Full
Check.
That's the end of that interview. No, you love reading, you love going into imagination. Your imagination is like, you're very connected to your imagination. And I think with your movement, like with the video that we were just watching there, which is on YouTube as well.
I'll link it.
2,000 and something views, by the way. But yeah, like how you move,
Tell
like
stories,
how
yeah.
you do dance is like that's how you like to do dance
Yeah.
is by you
Yeah,
know, and so
telling,
that's
yeah.
really interesting because it's like you're using your body to
Tell stories.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Or like as
Yeah.
well, like you use your body to tell stories and also to make up stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
else.
Yes.
Like with these different things. But like they're all you.
And just like,
You're channeling.
so a part of my practice then, you know the way you were like, but the donkey work is the divinity, or it is it all. It's it all, right? I believe the body is all dance worthy, or is all story worthy. Because so my training will come a lot of the time, like postmodern contemporary dance and release technique and all the stuff that I've been trained in has been very much like you just kind of, you turn into this canvas of blankness and then you move. And I it was great training, but then when I started to go, well, what do I want to do? It was a real conflict of interest because I wanted to use my face and use my hair, use the fact that I'm a woman of this size or blah blah blah, and just fucking go for it and say all the things that it can say, like, oh, I can also say this, oh look, I can also do this, oh look, I can also do this, and not, for me nothing is off limits.
No.
And it is all, it can be all of it, and why limit ourselves?
Yeah, and that's why earlier when I watched the video and I said to you, I'm so glad you keep doing you instead of never, because like I've been watching you, like you know, we've known each other for a while. I've been watching you move and dance and make work like for years, and I watch how what it is becoming, like, not that like it was never like, it's always deadly, but like now what I'm seeing is like you're true, like you've an integrity now in what you're doing, and it feels like you know that this is right. Yeah, it's safe. Yeah, like you're feeling good in it and safe in it, because you're like, do you know what? It's probably because you turned 30. Apparently, when you turn 30, you stop giving a shit.
Oh no, well, that's
I can't wait. It's a week and a half. Yeah.
Birthday's coming up. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks a million. I would agree. That I figured something out about myself today now, so. Yeah. I hope you did too.
Thank you. Oh, such a nice little holiday of an hour.